Duelist is I Hellgear, and this is my Simorgh deck profile for post-Battle of Chaos. I'm very happy with this build for two reasons. Number two, during testing, I inadvertently found out that I built an OTK into this deck. And number one, this deck can can make consecutive normal summons, rivaling that of the other Bird of Prey deck out there. But you don't have to worry about getting hit with that 3-rock, that 3K, 3-rack crack rock from the sky. Like, sub, and bell. And let me know what you think of this build in the comments below. So, we're going to set the banned Bird of Sovereignty to the side and count the cards. It's only fitting that we begin a Simorgh deck profile with 3 copies of the Bird of Beginning. With the exception of the new bird on the flock, each of the smaller Simorgh birds share a similar ability, where once per turn, if your opponent has no spell or trap cards, they special summon themselves to your field in defense position from your graveyard, but they're banished when leaving the field, and you are locked into special summoning wing beasts for the rest of the turn. Since every monster in this build's main deck is a bird, and only choice few in the extra deck are not wing beasts, that lock means Bo Diddley Squat. On normal summon, the Bird of Beginning lets you normal summon another Simorgh bird other than itself. Play 3 Simorgh birds of Calamity. This on normal summon is our Armageddon Knight, sending a Simorgh card to graveyard other than itself. I play 2 Birds of Bringing. This is our in-archetype Rhoda, adding any Simorgh card except the other Bird of Bringing from deck to hand. I also play 2 Birds of Protection. On normal summon, it bounces one of your opponent's spells or traps to their hand. Battle of Chaos brought us the new bird on the block, the Bird of Perfection. Dark attribute by base, it is treated as wind attribute once it's on the field. When you normal summon a wing beast monster, you can reveal the Bird of Perfection in your hand. This will allow you to normal summon one more Simorgh monster after you reveal it, giving you an additional normal summon. So combined with the Bird of Beginning, this is 2 normal summons out the gate. On normal summon, you send a Simorgh monster from deck to graveyard, then add a Simorgh spell or trap from deck to hand. That wraps up the small birds. Now we get into the big ones. If you're a fan of stun decks, or if you have a Flundery sideboard, Dark Simorgh is no stranger to you. Like the Bird of Perfection, dark by base, but win when on the field. If you banish a wind and dark monster on your board, you can special summon this from your hand, and you can banish a wind and dark monster in your hand to special summon this from the graveyard. I know we're in that quirk of properly summoning things, so you can properly special summon this from the graveyard. And as stun duelists know, while it's up, your opponent can't set any cards. Now this next bird, I've seen a lot of Simorgh decks play, but they don't specifically play this particular bird. And I have only 1 copy of it, and it feels good to play. And that is the Simorgh Bird of Ancestry. Treated as a normal monster while while in your hand, but while on the field, wind monsters require one less tribute. And if you tribute only wind monsters, when you tribute summon this card, you can bounce up to 2 cards on the field. The Bird of Ancestry's bounce is non-targeted removal. So cards that can't be dealt with by target, this bird can out. I run 1 Lord of the Storm, mainly because it can come back to your hand if it's in the graveyard and you lose a bird by battle. When tribute summoned, it is immune to the effects of spell or trap cards. And once per turn as a quick effect, when your opponent activates a spell or trap, you tribute a winged beast to shuffle that card into the deck. Simorgh of Darkness also tributes a winged beast on the activation of your opponent's spell or trap, but it negates and destroys it instead of sending it back into the deck. And if you tribute a wind or dark monster, you can special summon the Simorgh of Darkness from your hand. Very fun 2 of in the deck. DD Crow is the hand trap of choice, and it's 2 more dark attribute birds for the Dark Simorgh himself. And then of course we have the 1 copy of Play Gadarla or Kill Me before you can special summon anything that's not wind. Barrier Statue. Spell game. We have of course the Simorgh field spell Elborz. It gives winged beast monsters an additional 300 attack and defense boost. And I say boost loosely. It also has 2 once per turn effects. You can reveal a level 5 or higher when winged beast from in your hand, and this will allow you to normal summon another time, giving you that 4th summon when you need it. And if you have a wind monster on the field when you activate this effect, you get that summon. I run the terraforming in this deck as well because, you know, it's terraforming. I'll probably take this out a little bit later. I run 2 copies of Simorgh Onslaught. You discard a winged beast monster for cost, then add 2 Simorgh monsters with different attributes from deck to hand. You have dark, you have wind to work with. You can also banish this card and reveal a winged beast monster, one of the bigger birds, and it lowers its level for the turn. 2 copies of Simorgh Repulsion. I originally ran 3, but for economical purposes, and I found a better card to wield, 2 is fine. Like Onslaught, you discard a winged beast for cost, and you bounce your opponent's back row. You can banish this card from your graveyard, reveal a winged beast in your hand, and if you do, reduce the level of the monster of that name by 1 for the rest of the turn, even if that card leaves the field. 2 Winged Requital. This is the draw spell of choice. Having 2 winged beasts on your board is not something you're going to have to struggle with. 600 life points well spent. I run 2 Quill Pins of Goldos in this deck. Since the monsters can recur themselves from the graveyard, we don't really use Monster Reborn. This targets 2 wind monsters in your graveyard and 1 card your opponent controls. Shuffle the monsters in your graveyard to your deck and bounce the opponent's monster. We got the usual suspect in Call by the Grave. We all know this. And then I run a Reasoning in this deck. The birds range in levels from 1 to 4, for the small birds, 7 for dark Simorgh, and 8 for the other big birds. And more times than not, when your opponent gives off a level, you'll probably reveal a monster that doesn't match, allowing you to special summon it. But when you do reveal the monster that matches their level, it goes to the grave along with the rest of the cards in your hand. On the trap game, I run 1 Simorgh Sky Battle. The only reason why you do this is because it gives your little birds protection, making it so that your opponent's effects only affect the strongest bird on your board. 2 Solemn Strike, we all know what we're using this for. The negates in the Feather Storm, and that backup win con in Tri-Brigade Revolt. Wonderful stuff out of this deck. Extra deck time. I run 1 Kiki Nagashi Fuko for the defensive purposes. 1 Recital Starling. This is our search for our hand trap DD Crow, as well as Bird of Beginning. More bounce action with Totem Bird, as well as Lightning Chidori doing the bouncing. Tornado Dragon to hit the back row. Ice Beast Zero Fine to shut them off. Trust me, Ice Beast Zero Fine is one of the best winged beasts at rank 4 that you'll ever put into your deck, even better than Lightning Chidori. And when you need to rank into the big birds, 107 for that matter. As for the links, 1 Linkuriboh, 1 Win the Wind Charmer Verdant, and then we got my boy Rasvelgar the Desperate Doom Eagle. This card is very difficult for a lot of decks to out. And as a reminder, it works like this. When your opponent has no monsters in their graveyard, this 2400 attack point link 3 gains 2400 attack points. And once per turn at quick effect speed, shuffle a monster in your opponent's graveyard into their deck. Nightmare Engine, self-explanatory. And then of course we have, because of Tri-Brigade Revolt, 1 Ferrijit, 1 Rugal the Silver Sheller, and the win con in Shiraig the Ominous Omen. So, let me pull out you and you. And let me give you a quick little analysis on a board that this deck can really put in work with. If you're going first and you see any combination of Bird of Perfection, Bringing, or Beginning, you're in a good spot. As it doesn't matter if it's Beginning and Bringing, Beginning and Perfection, or Bringing and Perfection, either 2 of these birds can get you full combo. So for example, you can summon your Bird of Beginning. This gets you another Simorgh normal summon. So you can summon Bird of Bringing. With Bird of Bringing, you can rota your Bird of Perfection. You'll reveal Bird of Perfection, and this will allow you to normal summon 1 more time. So you'll normal summon this. Then, with it, what you can do is you can add Elborz to your hand, and then you can send one of your other bigger birds to the graveyard, like Dark Simorgh, for example. Put Dark Simorgh in our graveyard. So what you can do then is you'll activate Elborz. We got the graveyard over here. I really need to find a way to zoom out more, but I am completely maxed out. Now what you'll do is, because Bird of Perfection is win while on the field, You can link these two away. And this is a great going first board. And you'll go into win verdant. Then you'll link the bird of beginning away into link Haribo. Because this is you going first and your opponent has no back row, you'll special summon these two birds back, locking you into winged beasts for the turn. You can then link away these two, and then you can go into your copy of Rysvelgr the Desperate Doom Eagle. And that is a wonderful little turn you have for yourself. Well, and since your opponent has no monsters in their graveyard, you have on the next turn link Haribo as a follow-up protecting either of these two birds, and you have Rysvelgr the Desperate Doom Eagle sitting on your board at a very nice and very comfortable 5,100 attack points. And when your opponent puts a monster into their graveyard, you'll just shuffle it into the deck to keep the boost up. And even if they do put an extra monster in the graveyard, Elborz makes it so that the Doom Eagle's attack lowers simply to 2,700, which still gives you a big bird on your field for your opponents to swing past. Hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile. I have a lot of fun with this build. Testing it was amazing. And yeah, that Eldorado duelist had a very bad day with Desperate Doom Eagle. Like, sub, and bell. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. And please give a moment of silence for the loss of the Bird of Sovereignty, because he probably won't be back anytime soon. But for now, I take my cards to the box because I'm done. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.